Hi guys, so this is going to be just a quick overview of InDesign, nothing too major. So obviously I'm on a PC, so things are laid out just a tad different in this upper area. So normally on our Mac we'll have an apple here, and then these three buttons are X, our maxima, our window, whatever, and our minimizer over here. And on a Mac they'd be right here, and they'd be a green, yellow, or a red, yellow, and green dot. So besides that, everything else is pretty much the same. So we have our file, edit, layout, and so on up here. We have our little InDesign logo that if we had a file open, we could click on, it would take us there. And it will open a new document. So we have all of our information up here for our account. And here we have new file open, the home section, a learning section, where if there's more that you want to learn that we haven't gone over, you can find all kinds of stuff in here. This is all free because you have an Adobe account, so please feel free to use this. It's very helpful. We also have the your file shared with you and deleted section. So we're going to go back to home. We also have some presets up here that you can use, as well as some more learning stuff. And then down here is where all of our recent files are, which you can see I have quite a few because I've been looking at different things and sorting out things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to new file. And what this is going to do is this is going to bring up a window, which I'm going to make a little bigger so you can see. So we have a couple different options here. We have recently used, we have saved, print, web, and mobile. For this class, we are going to be using print because this takes us to the CMYK colors. It automatically sets it up for that. And this does not have the option here to do CMYK when you first like to select it over here, so we have to select print. This gives us some presets up here that we can use, and it also gives us some templates down here. Um, Over here, we have a space where we can write our title. So this is where we would do our naming convention. So the first letter of your initial, your last name, underscore project. Did I get an underscore? Okay. I did, but it's not wanting to show up. Okay, anyways. Project 3 underscore resume and business card underscore VACA 142B underscore 2024. So if you put the name of your document up here when you start your design, you will not have to worry about saving it out with the correct information later on, because it will automatically, any saves you do, it will suggest this as the save name. So do it in the beginning, save yourself some hassle. It's just easier. Here we have our height and our width, and here we have our units. So we're going to be working in inches. So if we change that, you'll immediately see that it's an 8.5 inch by 11 inch. We have our portrait and our landscape here. Your resume will be an 8.5 by 11. Your business card we will talk about, because there are a couple options that I want you guys to have available, but I want you to write your brief beforehand, because how you fit it onto a business card isn't relevant for the brief. So just know that we will have some different sizes in here. This right here says facing pages. We're not going to be using that. So I clicked the preview button down here to show you guys what some of the stuff that's coming up, but we're going to turn that off. You can tell it if you know how many pages you want. Right now, one is fine because we can always add. Starting page number, if we needed it, is there, but we don't. So right here, I'm going to make this a little smaller so we can see a little better. So if I put this over here, here's our column section. I can add columns to this document to my heart's content. I would say to stick to like 3 or less, just because it can get overwhelming really quickly. These do not have any bearing on how your document is set up, like so how you can build your document. It doesn't mean you can only have a column here and a column here. You can put stuff over top of these. This is more of just a guide. So if you would like to have something in the middle to split it, or it's just easier for you to know that this is like the middle section, this is fantastic. And really helpful. A lot of times I put a column in mine just because I know if I put a guide in the middle of it, it's the middle of my page. It kind of helps me center up things, but it's not required. So it's entirely up to you. And if you click the preview button down here, you can see your document. For your margins, you're going to do a 0.5 margin. So these are just like other margins where you can go up and down. We're going to stick to a 0.5 margin. You will need to have a bleed on your document. So you need to have at least a 0.125 bleed. This again is so that when we have images, When we have anything that's like a rectangle or an image or anything that goes beyond, or that we want to go beyond the page so that it's fully covering the page. So here we have like a white outline on this image, and this one here goes all the way to the edge. That's what our bleed is for. Our bleed allows our images when they're printed to go all the way to the edge. So once all this is selected, we will click create, and that will create our document here. So up here we have all of our file stuff. We have some other stuff here. Make sure you go to Windows and Workspace and go to Typography. This is going to give us everything that we need really easily. And all of your tools here will be the same. So we have our selection tool, our direct selection tool, which works exactly like they do in Illustrator. We have this, which we can work with our page size, so we can adjust it here. We can also go to properties, which yours will be set up differently than mine. I have this arranged specifically the way I like it. You can arrange yours the way you like it. But here we have the size of this page. So if you watch, if I pull this in, the size changes here. You can also go in and change your margins here. So this is where you can, when we go in to go and change for a business card, you can do it. And we'll talk about that once we're setting that all up. We have text boxes here. You have the options currently to type tool for the type tool and to type on a path. We have a line tool, a pen tool, which you guys are all super familiar with now. There's a pencil tool. This here is our image tool. So if we bring out this box, we can set a size of an image. So if I wanted my image to not be bigger than this, I can open it. Actually, let me fix it because I tilted it. I can do this, and then if I go to File and I click Place, then we can grab this image. So if I want to put this in here, I can then right click, go to Fitting, and click Fit Content to Frame, or actually, let's fit content proportionally. So then I can fit that to my actual image frame and know that it's going to be there. I can also, so we all see this blue line around here. If we double click on it, you'll see an orange line around the image. The blue line is for the bounding box, the orange line is for the image. So if we want to resize the image within the box, we need to make sure we're using the orange bounding box opposed to the blue one. So we can rearrange things. This bounding box can also be made bigger, so this is very adjustable. The other way that you can add images is you can go to File, you can click Place, and you can just select an image, and I did this in class too. You can go to File, you can click Place, you can select the image, and you can just place it in, just like this. So there are multiple ways to do this. The other thing is that just like Illustrator, we have some play space. So this light gray area here is the area that you can play in. So you can set things, you can put them to the side, but do realize that this area out here is not a play area. And if you put an image way out, like you can put an image all the way out here. So you can lose it entirely, and there's no real way to get it back most of the time. Okay, so what we can do is we can set stuff to where there's a little corner that we can grab it from and then it's not in our way. But make sure that you have a way to get it back, because it's very easy to lose things into the abyss and then not be able to get them back, which is really annoying. Each of your pages, so if you want to add a page, you're going to go to this section here. We're on our page tab, and you're going to click. You can move things from page to page like this. Just know that. Over here we have a rectangle tool. We're not going to be using the cut or probably the free transform. You have a gradient tool. You also have a feather tool that allows you to feather out images. So as you can see, it changes the opacity on the image. Here we have, this is our background color. This is our stroke. So we have that, and then we have down here, we have our gradient and that kind of stuff. Now, in our color system here the color system here is very different from the color system that we knew in Illustrator or even in Photoshop. So we have the none, which we knew about in Illustrator. We have register, paper, and black. So in InDesign, white is called paper because when you're printing, white is usually the paper color that's behind everything. So if you're printing white, you're just leaving it with no ink so that the paper color shines through. Black, you can use register or the black. It just depends. It's dependent on projects. Usually I use black, but there are occasions where register is required. So just know that. Here are all of our swatches. We can add a new swatch by clicking here and it'll give us a new swatch. And it's usually the color that is selected over here. Or you can do, come back here. Or you, why are you doing this? I don't know why it's moving my window. It shouldn't pull the thing away, but you can duplicate swatches. I don't know why it's making my thing go away, but what is wrong with you? Okay, so I don't know what's going on with mine. This usually isn't a problem. But you can basically duplicate swatches. We have an additional swatch here, so I'll just open this up. You can click on them and then change them. Ours are always going to be in CMYK. But if you know the RGB colors, you can type them in or the hex code down here and it will translate it into CMYK for your swatches. So just know that. And if you type in the hex code, so like if I change this to 479 and then I change this to CMYK, it will keep it and just change it to CMYK colors. So, and now you have a swatch. I don't know why my swatch thing is being a pain, but who knows. So this is our background color. If you're working in text, you're going to want to make sure the text is selected up here so that your text will change colors. There is a layer system in this, so this is kind of a combination similar to Illustrator of stuff, so you can have multiple layers. My suggestion is to have a layer for every page. So if you have a resume, I would do page 1. And then the next one we can do resume page 2. This is only if you have a 2-page resume. And then the next one I would do business card front and then business card back. You can also change the colors, as you can see, to do what you needed to do to be more visible. Everything will be based on whatever the color is you're using. So this is on page 1. If I change the color scheme to magenta, you will see that my text boxes change. So change them as you need them to be able to see them, to be able to use things. Don't feel like you have to use what just is preset. So that's your layer system. You can create new layers down here. You can throw them away here. Let's go over master pages really quick. So if you look here, you can see that both of these pages have an A on them. That's because we have our master or parent page up here that is A. So if I double click on this and I go and I make a rectangle that's green, you will then see that everything here has a rectangle under it. And I cannot move this rectangle, not even with the direct select tool. Nothing is going to change that. Now, if I want to have 2 different designs, I can then add another parent. So I can add a B parent and say I want all of them to have circles on them. Okay. So right now, none of them have circles because they're all A parents. But if I pull the B parent down to this one, you'll see it's changed. Now this is my B parent and there's the A as well. So we have 3 pages. You can pull this out if you need to see more. You can pull it down here. You can create a new page here. So if your pages are selected, so you see one of these is blue, it can be any of them. If you add a new page, if you have this one selected and you add a new page, it's going to go below it. You can rearrange your pages as you need to by pulling them up. If I click up here with where the B is, whether I have B, A, or none, if I add, it will give me a new parent. Okay? So parent pages are a requirement for this project. You must use parent pages for your designs. So you're going to design your page. So like let me pull this up so I can actually see it. So we see how this is designed to be page B. If let's say this is what I'm using for my resume, I'm obviously not. But then I'm going to put all of my text on top of this. And then when you're doing things and you're resizing text boxes and so on, you don't have to worry about your design moving. Okay? Another thing that I want to remind you is that the W key on your keyboard will allow you to preview how something's going to look before it's printed, or what it's going to look like when it's printed. W will take you back to the normal page. This is not where we design, though. This is for viewing only. If I catch you designing in this view, I will be very mad at you and you will get lectured, okay? This is where we design because we can see our bleed, we can see our margins, we can see everything we need to see here. This is just for viewing to make sure that everything is where it belongs. Okay? Do not design in W. I will I will find out and I will fuss at you. Okay. I I do have one other thing I need to go over, and that's the characters. That's not characters though, that's character styles. Okay, let me open them up. So if you can't find them, if you go under type and tools, we can have a character menu and we need our paragraph menu. Okay, so paragraph and character. So what these are is these are our fonts and stuff. So paragraph, we have all of our alignment tools. We have our indentations, whether they're a full indentation from either side or they're just like a sentence indentation from either side. We have a couple other options here. We have shading and borders, and we have our hyphenation. We need to turn hyphenation off. Hyphenation works for some things, but it's not good for resumes, so make sure you've turned that off. Over here we have our characters where we have our fonts. So there's tons of fonts here. You can see them all. You'll also be able to see you'll be able to add more fonts if you want in Adobe Font. So feel free. Excuse me. I know. Let's type in Coho. Okay, so we have fonts that have families. So that's what this is here. So I have the Coho font that has light, regular, medium, semi-bold, and bold. So basically each of these is a member of this family. So they'll have bold will be very dark, semi-bold will be a little lighter, and the medium will be kind of in the middle. Regular will be lighter than medium, and light is super light. And I think the one I showed you guys in class had even more options. This having this amount of options with a family allows you to design using hierarchy to show that things are important by having them have a heavier weight of stroke than the others. So this is a way, and we're going to learn more about typography, hierarchy. I don't know why I can't say that right now, but choosing a font that has a lot of members is really, really helpful when designing a resume so that you can give emphasis where emphasis is needed and have options. So just know that that's something to look for. We have our font size, we have kerning and leading in here. We have all kinds of options that we will learn more about. You also have an option to italicize font that doesn't have an italics option. So there's lots in here. This is just a basic overview of this software. We are going to work more with it. This is just to give you guys kind of a taster so that you can go in and start messing about with stuff and kind of get a feel for the entire software. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to email me or send me a message or talk to me in class, and I will get back to you and try to help you to better understand what's going on.